We all become very cognizant of Jack and his story. And when Alibaba went public with the largest IPO in history, we knew a lot of more about him. So I want to talk about his personal story. I want to talk about how many times he tried and failed and what kept him going. I want to talk about where he is today and how he got here. I begin with this question. Talk, Jack, why are you back at Davos? It's been a long break for 7 years, I think. My last trip here was in years 2008, but I was coming for the year 2001 for a young global leader for tomorrow. And I think I remember I never heard about Davos when I came, but when I came into Switzerland, so many young people demonstrated. It was just a horrible scene, and I asked them, "What are what are they doing?" They said, "Anti-globalization." And I said, "Why? Globalization is a great thing. Why people don't like it?" And then we came all the way for 2 hours here. There's a machine gun, there's a people checking us. Oh God, is this a film or is a prison? What is that? But when I joined the forum as the young global leader, I was thrilled by so many ideas. For the first 3 to 4 years, I learned what the globalization mean, what the cooperative citizenship mean, what the social responsibility mean. All these new ideas, and I saw so many great leaders talking about leadership, and I benefit a lot. In the years 2008 and 9, when the financial crisis came, I thought it's better to go back to work because we can never win the war by talking. So go back, spend 7 years. Now I came back. I think it's time to do something in return. I learned so much 12 years ago. So why should I not be talking to the young global leader of today, sharing with them how we gone through? So that's what anything. Let's start with where you are today. Just how big is Alibaba? How many people come every day? How many people come in a week? How fast is this growing? Yes, we have over 100 million buyers visiting our site, shop on our site every day. And we created 100 million every day. We created 14 million jobs for China's directly and indirectly. And we grew from 18 people to 30,000. 18 people in my apartment. To know we have 4 big campuses compared to 15 years ago. we were big, but compared to 15 years later, we're still a baby. How big will you be 15 years from now? I think 15 years ago, I told my team that 15 years in the past, 15 years we grew from nothing to this size. And 15 years later, I want people to see and know about Alibaba because it's already everywhere. And 15 years ago, when we talk about what is e-commerce, why small businesses can use these e-commerces, use the internet, can do business across the nation. And I hope 15 years later, people forget about e-commerce because we think it's like electricity. Nobody thinks it's high tech today. This is something that I don't want 15 years later. We still walk on the street talking about why and how e-commerce can help people. You try to get into 3 colleges. Each time they reject it. No, I tried. There is an examination that young people, if you want to go university, you have to test the examinations. So I failed 3 times, but I failed at a lot of things. I failed for funny things. I failed a key primary school test 2 times, and I failed 3 times for the middle schools. And never believe in Hangzhou, my city. There's only one middle school that lasts only 1 year. It will change from primary school to middle school. Our graduates of our school. No middle school accept us because we're too bad. It would become a middle school. What effect did it have thought being rejected? Well, I think we have to get used to it. We're not that good. Even today, we still have a lot of people reject us, I think. When I graduate from universities and before, for 3 years I tried and failed to get into universities. So I applied to jobs for 30 times, got rejected. I went for police. They say no, you're not good. I went to even the KFC, when KFC came to China, came to my city. 24 people went for the job. 23 people were accepted. I was the only guy. And we went for police. 5 people, 4 of them accepted. I was only guys that never received it. So, to me, being turned down, rejected. Oh, by the way, I told you that's when I applied for Harvard. for 10 times rejected. I know I would be rejected. They're sorry now. 10 times. You wrote them and said, I'd like to come to Harvard. Yes. And then I told myself someday I should go teach there one day. I think that can be arranged. Richard Nixon came to Hangzhou, and after that, tourists flooded the place. And that's how you learn English. Yeah, I really like the. I don't know why at 12, 13 years old. At the time, I suddenly fell in love with the language, English. And there's no place you can learn English at that time. There's no books, English books. So I went to the Hangzhou Hotel, now called Hangzhou Shangri-La Hotel, because that's what the hotel that receives the foreign visitors. So every morning for 9 years, I showed them around as a free guide, and they taught me English. And I think that trains me today. I'm 100% made in China. I never got one day training outside of China. And when people talk to me and say, Jack, how can you speak English like that? Why do you sometimes talk like the Western guys? I think that's what the 9 years these Western tourists opened my mind. Because everything they told me was so different from the things I learned from the school and from my parents. So now I have a habit. Whatever I see, whatever I read, I use my mind. Think about doing business. Is that how my youth became Jack Ma? Actually, Joyce, the name was given by a lady in tennis. She is tourist. She came here and she said, came to Hangzhou. We became pen friends. My use is so difficult to pronounce. So she said, do you have an English name? I said, no. Can you give me an English name? She said, okay. She says, my father's called Jack. My husband called Jack. What do you think about Jack? I said, good. So I've been using that for many years. First visit to America's 1995. 1995, yes. I came here for a project helping the local government to build a highway. And you try the internet. I tried the internet in Seattle. And in the building called the US Bank. I don't know whether US Bank's still there or not, but it's a building. And my friends opened a small office which is like only 10% bigger than this room, and there's a lot of computers in there. And he said, this is internet. I asked, what's the internet? He says, just whatever you want. At that time, they used mosaic very, very slow, and I says, I don't use it. I don't want to type because computers too so expensive in China. If I try it, I cannot pay. He says, just search it. So I searched the first word, beer. I don't know why, because it's easy to spell. And I says, beers from Germany, beers from the USA, beers from Japan, but there's no beer from China. And I say, okay, type the second word, China, no data, nothing, nothing. 1995, 1995, no data about China. So I talked to my friend. Why don't I make something about China? So we made a small, very ugly looking page called China. It's something like I did a translation agencies and we listed on there. It was so shocking. We launched at 9:40 in the morning. 12:30 I got a phone call from my friend who said, Jack, you got 5 emails. I said, what is email? And he says, these are the things. He said, people are so excited. Where are you? This is the first time I see a Chinese website on that. How can we? When can we do something together? So I think this is something interesting, so we should do it. Why this unicorn is Alibaba? Alibaba? Well, when I started, I think internet is global. We should have a global name and a name that is interesting. Like at that time, the best name was Yahoo. So I've been thinking for many days and suddenly Alibaba is a good name. So I happened to be in San Francisco that day. And I had lunch and the waitress came. I asked her, do you know about Alibaba? She said, yes. I said, what is Alibaba? She said, Open Sesame. Sesame. Good. So I ran down the street and asked 10, 20 people. They know about Alibaba and the 40 Thieves and Open Sesame. And I think this is a good name. And it starts with A. Whatever you talk about, Alibaba's always on top. You have said before that in creating Alibaba, you have to create trust. Because people in China, we used to face to face. How did you create trust? I think because we started out doing business on the internet. I don't know you, you don't know me. So how can you do things online unless you have just? So for e-commerce, the most important things was just. I think when I first went to the US for raising money, talked to the venture capitalists, a lot of people say, "Oh, Jack, no, 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 no. China doing business with Winseeds.